talk now about Ya'juj and Ma'juj, because we do have hadiths that indicate one of the signs of the reappearance is the emergence of this nation called Ya'juj and Ma'juj. First of all, the story of Ya'juj and Ma'juj is mentioned in the Holy Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala basically, He talks about a people who approached Dhul Qarnayn and they told him, look, these Ya'juj and Ma'juj, they're spreading corruption and mischief on earth and they're really harming us. So can you create a barrier, a dam to protect us from them? He helps them in the construction of that dam, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saves them from the evils of Ya'juj and Ma'juj. This is the overall story in the Quran. You can check the tafsir for further details as to exactly what this nation is. Basically, they are two tribes, Ya'juj and Ma'juj. They come from a barbaric nation that would just go around the earth spreading mischief and injustice and killing people and plundering their resources. When we look at the Torah, we also see that there are references to Ya'juj and Ma'juj in the Old Testament. And they were, a big nation that lived north of Asia, maybe north of China. And they would raid, their neighboring countries and places. This story happened about 500 years before Prophet Isa alayhi salam, so 500 BC, at the time of Quraysh, Cyrus the Great. And basically, some scholars believe Dhul Qarnayn is Quraysh, although some other scholars have disputed that. But this happened roughly 500 years before Prophet Isa alayhi salam. In our ahadith, the ahadith of the Ahlul Bayt, the emergence of Ya'juj and Ma'juj is considered as one of the signs of the reappearance of the Mahdi. In the ahadith of Sunnis, it's considered as one of the signs of the hour, the Sa'ah. Meaning right before the Day of Judgment, Ya'juj and Ma'juj will come, they will wreak havoc, Allah will destroy them, and then the Day of Judgment will begin. So we both agree that this will happen in the future. The only difference is we say this will happen at the time of the Mahdi, whereas Sunnis say no, this will happen right before the Day of Judgment. So there's a hadith from the Prophet ﷺ, Sunnis have narrated this, in which he says, لا تقوم الساعة حتى تكون 10 آيات. The hour, the Day of Judgment will not happen unless 10 signs occur. One of them, Ya'juj and Ma'juj. This is attributed to the Prophet ﷺ. Now, who exactly are Ya'juj and Ma'juj? The Quran makes a reference to them. And the Quran makes a reference that they will emerge in the future. So who exactly are they? There's a lot of talk amongst the Mufassirin and scholars, Sunni Shia, who they are. There are three opinions about who Ya'juj and Ma'juj are. The first opinion says they are a nation that was very strong, and they would multiply like crazy in terms of their offspring. They spread corruption, and possibly they were Chinese. A lot of people have said that. They come from the Chinese civilization. One hadith attributed to the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet says, the person from this tribe, from the nation of Ya'juj and Ma'juj, he would not die until he sees 1,000 sons from his progeny. So they live long, number one. Number two, they multiply like crazy. I mean, imagine, you see 1,000 from your sons and grandsons and children. So that's the first opinion. Probably they come from China. The second opinion says no, they're not from China, because the hadith that we have make a distinction between Ya'juj and Ma'juj and the Chinese nation. So we know that they're not from the Chinese people. They're close in that area. Historical clues indicate maybe they were north of China, but they're not actually the Chinese people. They're people who lived close to the Chinese civilization, but not the Chinese people. That's the second opinion. The third opinion, and this is, a little bit unusual, but I've heard some scholars who believe in that. They believe that Ya'juj and Ma'juj are actually aliens. They're not humans. They're not from this world. They might live in some other planet, and they had access to this planet. They used to wreak havoc, cause destruction. Then Allah sent Dhul Qarnayn. When He built that dam, it was actually a barrier to block them from interfering with earth. And then towards the end of times, they will come back to wreak havoc again. So this is the third opinion. It's not a conventional opinion. Most scholars probably will say there's no evidence for it, but some do. Now the reason why they give this opinion is like when we look at our hadiths, and some of it is sahih hadiths, the descriptions that we find in the hadith for Ya'juj and Ma'juj don't apply to any human-like civilization. So this gives them reason to believe that they're creatures from out of earth and not any nation that we're familiar with. So let me share with you some of these physical descriptions. We have in our hadiths these descriptions of Ya'juj and Ma'juj. إنهم أشباه البهائم يأكلون ويشربون ويتوالدون. They look like animals. They eat, they drink, and they procreate. And one hadith states ولكنهم قد نقصوا في الأبدان نقصا شديدا. They have defects in their bodies, right? You know how we have a full body, limbs and fingers and whatever? They have defects, meaning there are some limbs that are not present in their body. وهم في طول الغلمان. They're very short. Some even hadith say, 5 shibrs. So they're dwarfs, basically. Another hadith states, عليهم وبر كوبر الإبل يواريهم ويسترهم من الحر والبرد. They have fur, just like the camels have fur, and this protects them from cold and heat. ولكل واحد منهم أذنان. They have 2 ears. One of them has hair on it, one of them has fur on it, and basically their teeth are like, the wild animals, like the lion or the tigers, very strong teeth. And if one of them sleeps, basically their ears are so big, they sleep on one ear, it's like a mattress for them, and then with the other ear they cover themselves like a blanket. We do have this in the hadiths. So some scholars are saying, wait a minute, with all these descriptions, they don't seem human-like. Now, are they humans or no? We have a contradiction in the hadiths. One hadith attributed to Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, Allama al-Majlisi narrates it. He says that all people are from the children of Adam except Ya'juj and Ma'juj. The nation of Ya'juj and Ma'juj that the Quran talks about, they spread mischief, they're not from the progeny of Adam. However, there are other hadiths from Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, from other imams that indicate they are from the children of Adam. In one hadith, Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam says, they are from the descendants of Yafith, the son of Nuh. And this hadith, according to Majlisi, is stronger in its chain than the one that says they're not human. So it seems they are from the children of Adam. How do we resolve this contradiction? Here's what Allama al-Majlisi does. He says the way I resolve the contradiction is the following. They are from the descendants of Adam, but they're not human. See, you've heard in the Quran about people who were morphed into animals. Doesn't Allah talk about Bani Israel and He turned some of them into pigs, some of them, into elephants, some of them into monkeys, right? Well, it seems, according to the opinion of Allama al-Majlisi, Ya'juj and Ma'juj are from the descendants of Adam, because we have a clear hadith that says they are from the descendants of Nuh through Yafith. But they're not humans, they're animal-like. So he's like, this is the best that I can do when it comes to resolving the contradiction. So they're from the progeny of Adam, but they're not fully human. And there are 3 types of them. The hadith states the first type of Ya'juj and Ma'juj are those with mega sizes. They're huge. In fact, one hadith describes their size as being like 120 arm lengths, like 120 yards. That's big. And then the second type are those who are smaller in size. And the third type, the one I just recited to you, that, they have these big ears and they sleep on the ears. Now, what do they do when they emerge? One hadith states that they will fight Prophet Isa alayhi salam. And this is why we believe they will return at the reappearance of the Imam. Because when will Jesus come back to earth? Right upon the reappearance of the Imam. So they will come back to earth before Jesus alayhi salam. They will fight Prophet Jesus alayhi salam and he will overwhelm them and kill them. So this is one thing that they'll do, yes. Do they speak? I don't know. The hadith doesn't mention anything about their speech. So they will fight Jesus, but he will overpower them. And we have this in our hadiths. In the book of Al-Khisal, he mentions a hadith that they will try to fight Prophet Isa alayhi salam. Another thing that they will do is they will flood the earth and basically overwhelm the people. One hadith states, at the end of times, خَرَجَ يَأْجُوجُ وَمَأْجُوجُ إِلَى الدُّنْيَا وَيَأْكُلُونَ النَّاسِ, and they'll eat the people. Now some have taken this literally, like they'll devour people, they're carnivores. No. They're not, they don't eat people, according to most scholars. This is a description of how they will overwhelm their people. They will populate the earth. They'll destroy, suck up your resources, even, the food resources that we have. It's like them eating people. In Arabic, you say that. When someone overpowers you, takes your resources, like he's eating me, right? He's taking away everything that I have. So in summary, there's a lot of discussion on Ya'juj and Ma'juj. Basically, the Quran clearly talks about them. About 500 years before Prophet Isa alayhi salam, they were quite active, especially in the northern China area. They spread to other parts, they spread havoc. Allah sent Dhul Qarnayn. It seems Dhul Qarnayn, with that dam, he kept them in check. And they're busy till the reappearance of Imam al-Mahdi, trying to break that dam so they can achieve their freedom. So whatever that dam is, whether we take it symbolically, whether we take it literally, it was a dam. What Dhul Qarnayn did was he restricted them. And he basically imprisoned them from interfering in our lives. Towards the end of times, according to Sunni hadiths, right before the Day of Judgment, and our hadiths at the time of the reappearance of Imam al-Mahdi, they will break free from that dam, and then they will, as the Quran says, from every direction they'll be flowing and pouring out there. They will wreak havoc, they will fight Prophet Isa alayhi salam, and Prophet Isa alayhi salam will destroy them with Imam al-Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajah. We don't really know if they're fully human or not. They seem to be from the descendants of Adam, but it seems from their characteristics and physical features, they're not fully human. They might resemble some humans in some aspects, but they probably don't look like a fully functional human being. They look more like, an animal figure. Any questions on Ya'juj and Ma'juj?
Sounds like a script for me.
Sounds like a script. If it wasn't in the Quran, maybe some scholars would have just said, these are fabrications and God knows who put them in our books. But it's in the Quran. And the Quran gives us, an interesting description of them. And the Quran does say that they will come back. So we know for sure they're coming back. And they will pour from every direction. So we really don't know exactly what their essence is, but they're corrupt people who are barbarian. Basically, our hadiths describe them as being very barbaric. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will eventually get rid of them. Now, whether they live here, whether they're aliens on some other planet, I really can't comment on that. I don't know. It seems from the description of the Quran, they're here on earth. But Allah knows, sometimes the Quran, when things are too difficult for us to grasp, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will, use language that's easier for us to understand. Brother Ali, any comments, questions on Ya'juj and Ma'juj? By the way, this is well documented in Sunni hadith as well. So it's not just something that's found in our books. Sunnis also have their tafsir of Ya'juj and Ma'juj. And they have a lot of, I did not share with you their hadiths, but if you look at Sunni hadiths and the descriptions that they give you, makes even a better script. I just, tried to mention what's mentioned in our books.
Do they have anything to do with the Dajjal?
See, the Dajjal also will return at the reappearance of Imam al-Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajah, and he is the Antichrist. So it's very likely that the Dajjal might join forces with them in, trying to kill the believers and to resist the Mahdi and resist Isa alayhi salam. But I could not find any hadith that states that the Dajjal will be with them. Allah knows. Do you know what the Sunnis say? Do they state that Dajjal and Ya'juj wa Ma'juj will combine forces, or they don't have anything specific in that regard?
Sunnis don't, but I'm reading right now what Christians say, and it seems that a lot of Mufassirin of the Bible, especially in the medieval ages, thought that Ya'juj and Ma'juj are going to be the armies of Shaitan.
The armies of Shaitan. Okay. It's possible that when they're here to fight the Mahdi, to fight Jesus alayhi salam, you can assume that they are working with the Shaitan, and so they could be the armies of Shaitan. Now, some people have, let me end with this note. Some scholars have mentioned that this whole story of Ya'juj and Ma'juj is symbolic. Basically, Allah is talking about armies of shaitan, meaning any nation has Ya'juj and Ma'juj. Those people who are materialistic, they only care about their desires, their personal agendas. These people are serving the interests of shaitan. And at the end of times, Allah will get rid of them. So there are some people who've explained this symbolically. They say, the Quran doesn't mean literally there was a tribe, called Ya'juj and Ma'juj. The Quran is referring to any corrupt nation that becomes decadent, materialistic, is just, concerned about its own interests. Like today in the world, you see superpowers, they're willing to wage wars, destroy nations for their own agenda. Then Ya'juj and Ma'juj applies to them. Some have said that, but most of our scholars disagree. They're like, no, from the Quran and from the hadiths, it seems like they're an actual nation. And it's too far-fetched to, say that it's all symbolic. Like the Dajjal, by the way. Or some people explain the Dajjal symbolically, that the Dajjal is a system of deception. Which is true, there will be a system of deception, but our ahadith are pretty clear. There's an actual person called the Dajjal. And he's been born, and he will appear at the, before the reappearance of Imam al-Mahdi.